Yo, what is going on, you guys? Bashtian yugioh here, and today we're gonna mess around a little bit with some Dark Worlds, guys. Dark Worlds are a deck that got infinitely better. Let me go ahead and re-emphasize that real quick. With the brand new additions of Ken and Gen, the brand new TCG exclusives, Dark World is the most slept on deck in the entire format. I guarantee it. Upcoming here in the next upcoming format. So I think Dark World is actually going to be really good with the Ken and Gen combo. Just having that alone really increases not only the consistency of the deck, and increases the overall potency of the deck, because you're giving your opponent cards that discard your cards as their effects, and you're giving it to them, again, preventing a lot of shenanigans from happening on your side of the field. It prevents you from getting hit with board breakers in the event that it gets to that level. But realistically, guys, Dark World is about one thing only, and that's ripping cards left and right from your opponent's hand, and not letting them do a single freaking thing. So the good thing about this is that now you have two cards you can go ahead and switch them out to your opponent's side of the field with really ease. Three essentially. Gen will summon Ken will summon Gen. And then you also have Ceruli, so you guys essentially going to summon out 3 monsters to your opponent's side of the field, all potentially at the same time. Normally that would be a bad thing, but because of the fact that they are going to be giving you so that much more advantage, just makes it work that much better, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys what my deck profile is looking like for Dark World. Now, a disclaimer real quick, I am not a Dark World genius over here, or whatever it might be. I'm not claiming to be super crazy good with this deck, but this is more or less what I'm expecting to see from a standard Dark World build moving forward, and we'll go ahead and see where we go from there. Now, if you guys have any suggestions for a Dark World build, please let me know in the comment section down below, because I really want to try actually play this deck at an upcoming locals. Potentially we'll see if it'll be more like a fun deck, or if I'm actually going to go ahead and take this competitively. But I do think it has potential to be very competitively viable deck. So with that being said, guys, go ahead and get right into it. We have 3 copies of the Rainbow, of course, really crazy card. 2 copies of Grapha. You still need Grapha. I mean, the pop is insane. The free special summon is nice, of course. Next, you just have to play the 1 Silva. I've seen some individuals playing at 3. I don't think that 3 is going to be the way that most Dark World players are going to go. I think 1 is just fine. You really search it with Snow whenever you need it, or you search it with something by another matter, whether it's Dark Corridor or whatever it might be. But Silva is not necessarily going to be a 3-up, even because you can search it whenever you need it with this deck. As long as you don't get Drone Lockbird, you're flying high, baby. So you are good to go. And the good thing is about this upcoming format is that I don't know about Drone Lockbird being a lock for one of the staple hand traps of the format. I think it's going to be more of a side deck card potentially. But I just feel like, you know, Imperm, obviously Ash are going to be the biggest ones right now. I've seen a few people messing around with Nibiru, so maybe that's going to be like a 3rd option. But Drone Lockbird is definitely up there. DD Crow is definitely up there as well. So there's a lot of variety when it comes to the hand traps. So that's why I believe Drone Lockbird may not be the most overplayed, which may, again, boost the viability of Dark Worlds. But again, my personal opinion, we'll see what happens here in the next YCS, which I believe is this weekend, if I'm not mistaken. So good luck to all you guys going to the YCS. Let me know how you guys do. And let me know who you guys play. If you top, let me know and give me a profile. Next time we got 3 copies of Snow, of course. You can cycle through this girl as much as you like. That doesn't sound right, but yes, that's exactly what you can do. So go ahead and play 3 copies of Snow, of course. 1 Ceruli for the combo. 3 copies of Genta, because Genta is a crazy card. Terraforming immediately, you search out your gates, you activate the gates, you banish this guy, a special summons itself for free. Crazy card overall, an amazing piece of support, and it's level 4, which is nice to go into some rank 4 plays, whether you're going to be going to Abyss Dweller or Dagaris number 60. You could potentially also go into a Baguska play. I do not have Baguska in this build, but you can go ahead and take out one of the Link monsters if you want and go ahead and slap it in there. Really not going to lose out on that much, but essentially I do believe that both Abyss Dweller and cards like Dagaris are going to be mandatory in your extra deck if you guys are looking to play Dark World, especially at a competitive level. And next up, we got the Dangers, guys. We got 2 copies of Nessie, 2 Mothman, pretty much going to be the best ones, of course. And you have the Chupacabra, and then your free special summons, which is Tsuchinoko and the Jackalope. And then, of course, you have your 1 copy of Salamander Catalyzer. You can also play the Blackwing Zephyros Elite if you guys want to play him at 1. But it kind of serves a similar purpose, you know? So it is what it is. I want to go ahead and keep it at 40. If you guys want to play 41 with the Zephyros, that's fine as well. So the fun part, of course, is going to be the Ken and Gen. Why this ratio? Why am I playing 3 of the bad one and 1 of the good one? because we want to play only one of the good ones, because we need the bad one to special summon out the good one to our opponent's side of the field, and we don't want to draw the good one, because then if we draw the good one, then we only get one special summon. Now, there is of course a combo. I'm going to show you guys a quick test hand towards the end of this video. Like I said, I'm not too crazy with the deck, but I believe this guys, you guys see in the test hand, we actually go ahead and be able to activate Gen and Ken in the same turn by stealing the Gen, because we are activating. We're activating Gen. We're special summoning Ken to our opponent's side of the field. Then, because our opponent technically is activating a monster effect, we can activate Thrust to search Triple Tactics Talents. Talents take Ken. Activate Ken effect to special summon Gen on your opponent's side of the field, which is deck thinning, and is also getting you additional advantage that way as well. So that is going to be it for the monster lineup. I know that went through a lot. It is what it is. Go ahead and move on. For these spells, guys, I did decide to go ahead and play 3 copies of Gates of the Dark World. Of course, seeing this card, you can cycle through all of these in your turn 1, which why not? I mean, the deck just discards and pluses and discards and pluses and discards and pluses. So why not, guys? I didn't want to go ahead and play only 2 copies of Dark Corridor. I understand this card is actually really, really good. Why 2? Essentially because I want to go ahead and make sure that I am keeping it as consistent as possible for the 40 card build that I have here for us, guys. And also, in the event that you want to go ahead and get it, you can still search it out with Thrust in the event you want to go ahead and go that route. So it is something that's definitely worth considering. 1 copy of the Dark World Ascension, because of course the fusion monster is still absolutely busted. 1 copy of Dark World Library, because draw 2, discard 1, why not? Then Card Destruction, because Card Destruction is mandatory if you guys are going to be playing Dark World. I understand the speculation where, you know, Tier Limit is in the format, so you don't want to go ahead and play activate Card Destruction against Tier Limit, but realistically, how popular is Tier Limit going to be? I understand it's a fan favorite deck or whatever it might be. So I think Card Destruction is way too good to not play. Plus, if you are playing against Tier Limit, first of all, now you know if you activated game 1, turn 1, or you just go ahead and, you know, tough it out. If you happen to see the Tier Limit and you happen to have the 1-of Card Destruction in your hand, game 1, turn 1, then, you know, it is what it is. And you just side it out going games 2 and 3, and you're good to go. That's personally what I believe, but I mean, whatever. We got 1 copy of our Reinforcement of the Army, because these guys are warrior type monsters. So what are we going to do? We're going to activate Reinforcement of the Army to search out the Gen, and then we are good to go again. Next, we have 2 copies of Thrust and 1 copy of Talents and 3 copies of Skill Drain. Why not slap in Skill Drains? I think it's going to be really good. I could be completely wrong. I could be completely wrong in saying that Skill Drain is going to be good in this deck. But realistically, what you are trying to do is hand loop the shit out of your opponent. A. B. You're going to go ahead and spam your entire board with a whole bunch of really big monsters whose on-field effects are completely irrelevant, except for Abyss Dweller and except for number 90. And essentially you just beat your opponent to death because you are hand looping them for so many cards, at least 3 to maybe 4 cards during your opening turn, where by the time they get to go, they'll have 2 cards in hand. Realistically, how likely is it that they're able to come back with just 2 cards in hand, or 1 card in hand, or no cards in hand? So that's something that is definitely worth considering, at least I believe. So 3 Skill Drain in the main deck. Let's keep it moving. Now for the extra deck is where I'm probably going to need a little bit of assistance from you guys. I do stuff. You have to play Muckracker. That is a given. Security Dragon, kind of iffy on this guy. Akashic Magician, I see why. Nightmare Phoenix, Nightmare Unicorn, of course, kind of standard necessary. Nightmare Griffin, because this card is absolutely busted. Saryuja Skuldred is such a good card in this deck. In any heavily combo based deck, this card is so good. It was great in World Chalice and it's great in Dark World. Both what those 2 things have in common, they use a whole bunch of monsters that have nothing to do with one another, and they go ahead and they all have different names, and you go ahead and just link them all off, and you go ahead and summon this dude with 4 materials, and you go ahead and go clean off from there. You fix your entire hand, you're good to go. So I really of course like the Saryuja Skuldred, and 1 Nightmare Griffin of course, and 1 Underworld Goddess, because this deck can spam out monsters like there's no tomorrow. 1 number 60 and 1 Abyss Dweller for our rank force, which we already went over, of course. 1 number 90. You can also play number 38, Titanic Galaxy. In the event you want to go ahead and go the Spell Negate route, you can go the Spell Negate or the Monster Negate route. That's completely up to you, but I believe the Monster Negate might be better in this scenario. I don't know. You can take this card out entirely and slap in Baguska in this slot, and I won't be mad. I promise. Then you have your, of course, AA Zeus Sky Thunder. You can also play Sky Crisis. I don't think it's that good right now. I think Zeus is still better. 2 copies of Grapha, the Overlord Dark World to round off the extra deck. And I do have a side deck for this, guys. If you guys were wondering, of course, we got 3 Nib, 3 Sphere Mode, 3 Lava Golem, 3 Drone Lockbird, 1 Called By, and 2 Crossout Designators. Drone Lockbird is for 2 things. Serves 2 purposes. 1 for Vanadium, 2 for the Mirror Match, and 3 you side the 1 in at the very least in games 2 and 3, because you know for a fact your opponent's gonna side in Drone Lockbird against you. Which means you need Cross-Eyed Destinator, cocked and loaded, ready to go, and you need your Called by the Grave ready to go. So that is going to be it for the profile, guys. Let's get into a quick test hand and go ahead and see what we can do. Alright, guys, so we are here with our test hand. Now I'm going to try to pause this so it's not too crazy. We already have Gen in the hand, but I want to go ahead and activate Reinforcement of the Army to start things off, because that way it allows us to deck thin, so the way when we activate Dark Corridor to search, we're going to be deck thin even more, because there's a lot of cards in this deck also that allow you to draw, and we don't want to draw into a card that we originally want to search. So, Reinforcement of the Army to get a Gen. That way we have 2 Gens in the hand. We're good to go. That means one of them is going to be discard fodder. We are going to then activate our Dark Corridor to go ahead and get our Rainbow and discard one of the Gens, since it's not necessary at the time. You can also, I guess, discard Snow for a search, but it is what it is. We're going to be discarding her anyway. There's really no need to get too crazy. So Gen is, of course, going to special summon Ken, some Barbie support. Ken is then going to go ahead and activate the effect to let us draw 2 cards. 2 cards we're drawing, guys, and we're going to discard 1. Let's go ahead and keep the train going. We are going to discard Rainbow. Rainbow is going to allow us to search. We get Silva to the hand already without even doing anything Dark World related, really. Next, we're going to activate the effect to special summon Ceruli from the deck to our opponent's side of the field, which of course is going to allow us to discard a card, which then we go ahead and use to activate the Silva effect, which is going to then rip 2 cards from our opponent's hand. We rip those 2 spells. Get that out of here. Get that. We don't need that. Alrighty, guys, we are zooming. We are booming, guys. We're going to special summon the Catalyst. Go ahead and discard the Snow. Snow is going to activate to search out our Genta. Why do I want to search Genta? Because I already have the Silva in our hand. I really could have discarded Silva and potentially try to recycle him to get discarded another way. But like I said, I'm not like the Dark World professional. I'm just going through test hands right now, seeing it out, testing a deck out, seeing how I like it. So we're going to activate Genta to get us the gates of the Dark World. Of course, activate the gates. Then we're going to set the skill drain, so that way we don't miss off Nessie, that we don't actually hit the freaking skill drain, because that's going to be really good, of course. We're going to activate Gates of the Dark World to discard the Silva. Silva's going to special summon itself, as well as the Genta as well. We're going to activate we're going to overlay into number 60. And so we're already so deep in the combo. It's actually super crazy. We already ripped 2 cards from our opponent's hand. We're clear, essentially. What I want to do now is dig a little deeper, see if we can get a triple tactic thrust. And let's see what we get, guys. We're going to draw 2, discard 1. We get the thrust, and we get a skill drain. We don't need a second skill drain. We already have one set right here. So I took the thrust, of course. I'm going to activate thrust to get talents. Talents is then going to activate to take the Ken from our opponent's field, and that's exactly what I was trying to get at to you guys earlier in this video, where you guys can actually go ahead and take the Ken and then activate the Ken effect special summon Gen, and get both Gen and Ken effect in the same turn as well. So really crazy, of course. So that's going to allow us to go ahead and do this Ruli play, get to the gates, and then let's go ahead and go all in on the Saryuja Scoldred. Like I said, it is not the right combo line. Please forgive me. Like I said, I'm not a Dark World expert, whatever it might be, but I do want to learn this deck, so I'm just messing around with it. Anyway, I feel like I need to constantly explain that. So we're gonna get another Gates of the Dark World, guys. It's so free. We're gonna activate it again, get another Snow effect, because we're gonna abuse her. Don't take that out of context. Next, we're gonna activate the Nessie effect, discard the Rainbow. So now we've drawn a card, guys. We're gonna actually be able to go ahead and activate the Rainbow effect again to search out our Grapha. And it's pretty much going to be allowing us to set up our Ascension play, of course, for the following turn, and to, you know, get the full coverage of making sure that we have everything on the wrap. So we're going to go ahead and end this turn pretty soon here. We're actually going to go ahead and use the Saryuja effect, especially in the Rainbow. So we get 2 level 8s. This is before I added the number 90 to our deck. So I actually don't have it right now, but I did add it on later on because I said this card's crazy. So I believe here I just pass? Did I just pass? Yeah, I just passed right here. Realistically, you can make a number 90 to have that monster negate at the end of your turn. I don't think your opponent's going to see it coming. So in the event they're holding on to that nib for dear life, they get sorely mistaken. And that's actually going to be it for the full test hand, guys. Like I said, I'm not some type of Dark World crazy guru over here, but I really like the deck. I really like the way it plays, and honestly, I think the deck has a lot of potential to be a top tier deck. And honestly, I think a lot of people are sleeping on this deck, guys. If you guys are into Dark World, first of all, don't roast me too hard in the comments. Please give me constructive criticism so I can go ahead and get better with this deck. Second of all, if you guys are Dark World enthusiasts, make sure you guys represent at YCS Indie, guys. This deck has potential. It is the time to go ahead and play this deck. It has great support happening that we only have here in TCG. No one expects it. No one knows how to play against it. Let's go ahead and just go out there, represent some Dark Worlds, and get some wins, guys. But without further ado, let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. If you guys did like the video, make sure you guys hit that like, subscribe, buy the merch down below, link in the description. Yeah, Bashtian yugioh merch. And I'll see you guys in the next one.